Hey YouTube, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, Faithful Gang. What is up? Thank you so much for returning. Who's the Faithful Gang? Anybody who likes, comments, shares, subscribe, tell all their friends we got the juice on this channel, okay? If you not telling your friends that we lit on this channel, just kidding. Just kidding. You better tell them. Thank you so much to my 8K subscribers. I remember when I was just begging for 1,000. I appreciate y'all. This is a long awaited video. This is a video that I had told myself I was going to film because people ask me all the time, how did you become a stand-up comedian? You know what? I am going to film a video so I can just tell everybody at one time. Let's get straight into it. When I was about 12 or 13, I saw an interview that Marlon Wayans did, and he said that when he was a little boy, he would envision his name in the credits. So as soon as I heard him doing that, whenever I watched a movie or a show that had credits in it, I would start envisioning my name in it. And I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. But now that I'm older, I understand that I was practicing manifestation. So there was this show that we used to watch growing up. It was called Comic View. My favorite one was Comic View. And I also used to love this show called Whose Line Is It Anyway? So those were like two of my dream shows that I always wanted to be on, right? When I was in my 20s, it was after I had my last child. So I was probably about 26. Well, not my last child because, oh yeah, I had the baby, y'all. I had the baby. Do a whole life update video because obviously this is not the same wall from, you know what I'm saying, all the other videos. I have actually moved and a lot's been going on, but we ain't even talking about that right now. After I had my third child when I was 26, I remember, just being like, what am I gonna do with my life? What am I gonna do with my life? Like, I wasn't really, I feel like, good at anything. I knew how to rap and I knew how to sell drugs. You know what I'm saying? And I knew I was funny. So I was just like, out of those three things, something has got to be like the thing that I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. So I remember when I was like 26, I just remember realizing, I was like, you know what? I think that I can do that stand-up comedy thing. I think I can do stand-up comedy. I don't know what in my mind was like, I can do this. Like, what would make me think that I could get up there and tell jokes? I don't even think I had jokes to tell. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, I think I could do stand-up comedy. And I remember going on Google, I looked up comedy clubs, and the first one that popped up was the Ha Ha Comedy Club, and this is in North Hollywood in California. From the moment that I saw that club, I looked it up and I was just like, I'm going here one day and I'm gonna do stand-up comedy. And here's the funny thing about it. I was in Chicago, so at any point I could have went to comedy clubs in Chicago. I could have started in Chicago, but I had no idea. And when I typed in comedy club, the one in Hollywood came up. So I think honestly I was supposed to have started in Hollywood. I feel like I have to tell all of this part of the story. I feel like I have to tell it all. And if you remember the last time I was on this couch, because I haven't been on this couch in a long time telling stories, I had told the story about calling for backup gone wrong, and I had told the story about how me and my child's father used to be very toxic when we were younger. Okay, me and him was trying to scheme and scam, right? Crazy story. Oh, because it's like, if I'm I hate to be telling somebody else's story, but this part of the story is part of my life too, and this is how I became to what I became, so I'm just gonna have to tell it. My child's father didn't really know his dad growing up, and it was crazy because he said when he used to be selling drugs or when he used to be on the block, this random dude used to always be coming up to him telling him, you need to get off the block, you need to get off the block, you don't need to be out here. Come to find out, that was his dad. That's all his dad really ever did for him. He didn't even know that was his dad. The nigga didn't even tell him, like, I'm your dad. We end up having kids or whatever, and we was in a bind. And we was waiting on our taxes to come. We was like, this is going to take us to the next step in life. That's all we need. I was pregnant. We was 2 kids in. And he was like, he was waiting on our taxes, baby, okay, to change our life. And, baby, them taxes got intercepted because, come to find out, they are from Nigeria. So he took my baby daddy information, his social security number, and his name, and he went to college and became a doctor.
What?
Yeah, yeah. When they took his income tax check, they gave it to the student loans people. So my baby daddy calling like, "What's going on? I ain't never went to school." Da da da. Said, "I guess you did. You was a doctor." And low key, my baby daddy, like, he got on straight BS. So not only did he go find his daddy and put paws on him, but he also went up to the school board and tried to get a copy of his doctorate.
What?
Like, well, shit, if I'm a doctor and I had to pay for it, like, I might as well, you know what I'm saying, get the practice in. When they took the check, it was like the rug was swept from under us. And, baby, we got evicted, okay? We got evicted, and I was pregnant. So his mama had been telling us to come live in Arizona. So I was like, well, I'm not going to go to Arizona right now because I'm 7 months pregnant. I want to have my baby here. I got my doctor and everything like that already. So I'm just going to stay here, have my baby, and then we going to meet back up in Arizona after I had the baby. Boom. I have the baby, and I'm going through this nigga's emails, and he started acting really funny when he got to Arizona. I was basically like, I'm done with you. Now I'm living with my mother. And at some point, I was like, I would rather deal with my baby daddy BS than deal with my mama. So I'm going to go to Arizona. And that's what I did. I threw a farewell party. I got 3 plane tickets. And I left with my 3 children. I had an infant on my lap. That was the longest plane ride I ever took, y'all. Baby, that day was so stressful. Okay, I remember it was my daughter's birthday, and it was that one year. It was like in 2013. It was when it was so cold. They was canceling school in Chicago because people couldn't breathe outside, and they was canceling flights. And I remember we had got to the airport, and they had canceled my flight, but they was like, there's this other plane that you could get on, but it's gonna be like a 10-hour flight, or you can leave like another day. Baby, I was so ready to get up out of there. I said, put me on the plane, okay? Y'all, why we was in the air so long that why they actually spent the block. Oh, why the pilot came on the thing and was like, we finna make a stop in Las Vegas and go get the pilots. And they just went to Las Vegas and got the pilots and took them home. Like, they was doing a lot. The plane ride was already long, and then the nigga really decided, like, oh, we finna fly to Vegas real quick. Like, me and my kids were the only ones on the plane at this point, too. We was the only ones on the plane at this point. It was me, my kids, and a bunch of pilots after they went and picked the pilots up. Like, they dropped everybody in the world off on that plane. Okay? Now we land in Arizona. So, I was scared to go to Arizona because if you remember in that story time when calling for backup goes wrong, when I told y'all that my baby father used to like to go outside and stay out and, you know what I'm saying, basically leave me in the house all the time. So my family was really scared for me to go to Arizona because they was like, if he was doing all this stuff when you was here, what make you think that he gonna do anything differently? So I'm like, oh no, I'm not finna go for that. And at the end of the day, in my mind, I told myself I can always come back. And sometimes when y'all are making these decisions, if you should move somewhere, you could tell yourself, I can always come back here if I want. Because I came here in the first place, or I was born here, or whatever. So don't be afraid to make them moves. We get to Arizona, and things is very weird, okay? Things is so freaking weird. I don't know how much of this part of this story. I don't know. I might as well just tell. Should I tell these parts of the story because we in it? Because I don't know. Why would I ever go? No, I'm gonna save that for another story time. Soon as I get there, this man acting weird. Now I came down there with like $4,000 or $5,000, and this was supposed to help me to like get on my shit. I was supposed to get me a car. Of course, I was gonna get a job from there, and everything was finna take off. When we first moved to Arizona, we had a 2-bedroom, washer dryer, Apartment was so nice. We stayed in Glendale. I loved it out there. The rent was like $700, if that. It was like six something. Like, we lived in Arizona when Arizona actually used to be cheap. Arizona is not cheap like it used to be no more. We was living in this place, all right? A lot of things started to transpire in the house. Before I had got there, I had found out that he was like messing with some of his coworkers. I was like, I'm willing to not care about none of that other stuff as long as you're willing to move forward. But he, ugh, I swear, everybody in a relationship should have a chance to be down, so you can see how somebody treats you when you down, for real. Because motherfuckers treated me so bad when I was down. It's just crazy. Let's get into it. I had like $4,000 or $5,000. I was supposed to give me a car. I wanted to buy a car cash because I had never had a car note before. My family always taught me to not get a car note, which when I do my story time about me recently buying my dream car, we'll get into all of that. Like, there is nothing wrong with a car note, and you should get one if you don't have no credit so you can build yours. But anyway, I was going to buy cash. But he convinced me that I should get a car note because he had the job. We was going to get it in his name. Now, mind you, we have a family. So I'm not thinking that I should be looking at this nigga sideways, and especially because I was in my 20s too, so I was like more naive back then. I remember this one day, we was in a car and I just felt so disrespected. Like, I had just had a baby, I felt low already, and then he was treating me so bad. When you're depending on people, they'll like lose respect for you. So that's why I make sure to never get in no situation where I depend on nobody no more. He taught me that. I was depending on him or whatever, so he started treating me like I wasn't shit, like I wasn't that bitch, like I wasn't that gas, like I wasn't fire, like I wasn't boss lady, like he forgot who I was, right? I actually had called myself running away from him, okay? So I think that day I had packed up, like I acted like everything was cool. I was like, it's cool, I'm finna leave and I'm finna drive to California and I'm finna go because I wanted to go home after he had started treating me like that, but my mind kept saying, you need to go to California to do the stand-up comedian thing. And you're like right here. If you go back to Chicago, you're going to be so far away from California. You need to go to California while you're right here on the West Coast. So my mind was like, okay, I'm going to take the car when he's at work and I'm going to drive. So that day I told him, because I used to let him drive to work, but I realized, like, what is you driving to work for when I got all the kids? And no, what is you driving my fucking car to work for? I was like, I'm going to drive you to work today. And this man actually had started getting close to God before I had got to Arizona. So I think like his intuition was kicking in. I dropped him off at work. I packed up everything. I packed the car, y'all, and I went to leave and the car would not start. This nigga called the dealership and told them to turn the car off.
What?
When I think about the stuff that he did, I promise you, like, I forgive him, and he had to act like this. Sometimes people have to act like they act so they can get the gone, so you can get the fuck. You know what I'm saying? If he would have never did these things, I would have never went to California and did my stand-up comedian thing how I did it, because I probably would have did it eventually, but it wouldn't have been, it had to be how it happened. He didn't have the dealership turn the car off, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. We go to his mom's house, I believe, to have dinner. And like we was talking and like we was mad and it was a lot. We get in the car and he was treating me so arrogant. Like, I'm finna drop you off at the house and I'm finna go do something and da-da-da-da. I felt so small and so low. I didn't know what to do. I wanted him to feel as small as I did. So I started spitting on this nigga while he was driving.
What?
I don't know why in my mind was like, spit on this nigga.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I'm finna treat you as disrespectfully as I feel treated. So I started spitting on him while he was driving. He was so grossed out and disgusted. He was just like, oh my gosh. He had this TV that he loved, okay? My baby daddy loves TV, okay? I remember we got into it about him buying this TV, and it's funny because here we are almost 14 years later. I still got this TV. I actually gave the TV away twice, and it has made it back to me. So that purchase that he made all them years ago that we got into about the TV, it was actually worth it. So he had this big ass TV in the front room, okay? So we get in the front room after I'm spitting on him. He like, oh, I'm finna leave. I'm finna leave. I said, oh, okay. I kicked that fucking TV in so hard. I kicked my. First of all, I forgot that I kicked the TV in. My daughter's actually the one that reminds me that I kicked the TV in. That's why you got to be careful what you do around kids, because they will not let you forget it. Yeah, I kicked the TV in. He was just like, this bitch didn't spit on me and kick my TV in, right? So he called his mama. Mind you, I told you they Nigerian. So he called his mama, and his mama come over there. So, and she got like this, I just love her so much. She got the thickest accent. So she's asking me like, what's going on? Why did you do this? He said you was spitting on him. I'm like, yeah, I did spit on him because he was doing this, and that. And then obviously I couldn't hide the fact that the TV was kicked in. His mama was like, all right, you got two options. You could come and live with me, because she herself said, this nigga's dumb. Y'all doing too much, and the fact that you didn't like spit on him and kick the TV in, I don't think you need to be here no more. So you got two options. You can either come live with me and you can get your stuff together and I'll help you, which was a great option, or I can send you home. I'll pay for a airline ticket and you can go back to Chicago. I'm really not into living with people, but I also didn't want to go home. My mind said, tell her to send you to California. If she send you to California, your dad can send you home. Because in my mind, I just thought like, I'm just going to go to this club, get on the stage, do stand-up comedy one time, and then, you know what I'm saying, leave or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to have my dad send me home. So remember I told you I had went out there with like $5,000 maybe. So I bought the car, and then plus, you know, I had lived out there for like a month. So I had nothing, okay? Like, send me to California and then I'll make my way back home. And she was like, oh, well, we could just drive you to California. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay, yeah, y'all can drive me to California. So she was like, all right, pack your stuff. We'll be back in the morning. So I'm thinking, maybe his mama was not playing. She like, you got to get the F up out of here for yourself and for my son. Like, for the kids. I'm pretty sure she really cared more about the kids. Be ready in the morning. So I packed up everything, y'all. I stayed up all night packing up everything. And this lady shows up at like 7:30, 8 in the morning. Like, she did not lie. She meant early as hell. So they packed my stuff up and we drove to California. Now, it was funny because that was such a packed, cramped ride. Like, we was like in a car SUV. So have y'all ever seen like little car SUVs? It was not enough room for all of us. With all the stuff we had, her husband drove, she rode in the front, and then it was me and my kids in the back with all our stuff. There was not even a seat for me. I remember I was sitting on the floor in the car, like in the middle part, okay? They had also had tied a bag like on the top. She's Nigerian, so you know she married a white man, obviously, because I have never seen anybody put anything on the top of a car. So I was like, oh, we white, right? And I remember we was driving there. I remember it rained. It literally rained on my stuff. And I remember, it never rains in Southern California. I remember that song, and then I was like, they lied. We ended up getting my auntie's address, and you know, they basically, because see, I said I was coming to California. My dad did not have his own apartment when we got there. Now, this common thing keeps coming up in my mind. We do not do niggas a favor when we don't hold them accountable. I think that my mom did my dad a real disservice by not letting us go live with him. I remember there was plenty of times where we packed our shit up and was like, we going to live in California with our dad. And she would be like, yeah, go. And then after our shit was packed up, she's like, no, you're not leaving. I'm not giving up on you. You know what I'm saying? She felt like she was giving up on us as children by allowing us to go live with our dad. But honestly, she probably should have let us go live with him, or at least the boys, or at least one. My dad did not get his shit fully together because he did not have to. He could have a girlfriend and live with bitches. My dad got a testimony, okay? This man lived under a bridge for 10 years, okay? I used to cry at night. I didn't know where my dad was, and people would say they seen him pushing a shopping cart down the street, and that shit used to hurt my soul. We will talk more about that later. My dad had a girlfriend he was staying with at the time who said that I could come and stay with her too. But when I got to California, they was into it, and my dad didn't want to stay with her no more. Lady did drugs up until she passed away. Rest her soul. My dad was homeless when I got to California, and I did not know that. We went. They dropped me off on the block where he was at, where his van was parked on my auntie block, because he was sleeping in his van. I took my stuff at my auntie house. My auntie was looking like, you know what I'm saying? Because my auntie had 2 kids of her own that lived there. My auntie, her 2 kids, and they 2 girlfriends. The newborn was coming. She was pregnant at the time. But my little cousin was there. I show up with my 3 kids. One was like a 7-month-old baby. And my auntie was just like, I didn't know where I was going to stay. I didn't know what I was going to do. And when my auntie said, well, between me and your auntie Stacy, you can stay with us, that just took a weight off my shoulders. I was like, praise. So that had just lifted a weight off my shoulders, right? I was like, okay, cool. Like, I know that I got somewhere to stay for now. Now it's time to get to the comedy club. Y'all, when I tell you my auntie was looking at me like,
What?
girl, what? You just got here. I don't care, baby. This is what I came to do. This is my dream. I've been waiting. I've been manifesting. Oh, I forgot to tell you. When I was in California, before me and my baby father had started getting into it and doing all that, I'm sorry, Arizona. Before we had started getting into all that, everything was kind of going cool at first for like the first month, right? I remember one day I was at home while he was at work, and I remember being in the bathroom, and I remember saying, when I go to California and do my stand-up comedy, somebody important is going to be there, and they're going to ask me to do something else. I remember feeling like I had to put that into the universe. And I was like, and it's so, you know what I'm saying? And I just totally let it go, forgot about it. So now I'm in California, and my first night there, I'm looking for the stand-up comedy. I'm on my way. I'm trying to get up on Lancashire, North Hollywood. I'm trying to go to the Ha Ha Comedy Club. My auntie was like, girl, you just got here. Like, don't you want to settle in? Like, I looked up the comedy club. Go there. And we're out here outside the Ha Ha Comedy Club. And this is my dream come true. I'm going to go here and perform and see where it takes us. So I have my phone, you know, my non-Wi-Fi, non-hotspot phone. And here we go. Hello. Where do I sign up? Right over there. You guys signing up? Okay. All right, we're all signing up. When we get there, they said it was $5 to do stand-up, okay? Because at the Ha Ha Comedy Club, I don't know if they still do this, but they used to charge the comedians by the minute. So you could either do $5 for 5 minutes, or you could do $10 for 10 minutes. Baby, I didn't have no money. All right, and they talking about $5. I probably only had $20 to my name. So I paid the $5. And I remember the first person I met, the first person that had got on stage was my girl Precious Hall, Precious Comedy Precious Hall. I don't know what her ad name is, but my girl Precious. So I just remember like she was filming, and it's funny because I remember she had told the people, I'm filming, so make sure y'all laugh, right? And I remember I had got on stage, and not trying to like come at her, but I was a baby in comedy at then. I was a newborn infant. Like, what's that stuff? I don't know. When I edit, I put it in stuff before the breast milk come out. Like, I had that on my breath. Yeah, we got a guest host. Okay, so, ugh. Like, the baby's spitting up. The baby's spitting up. I told them to keep the baby today because I am filming. I feel like I can never get nothing done. It's cool though. We gonna ride with it. Oh, like I said, I was just like a infant. Okay, I wasn't even on formula or breast milk. I was on the stuff that comes out before you even get the breast milk. So I remember being like, why is she asking people to laugh? But now as a comedian, I know that the hardest room to do is a room full of comedians. If you are doing a room full of comedians, that does not mean you are not funny, and do not be discouraged, because I got to tell y'all, eventually Stutter and Stan from the Howard Stern show had took me on tour. And I remember the first show we did in Ventura, them folks was laughing so hard, the host said, I came and got you off the stage because I saw you looking for the light. They was laughing so hard I didn't know what to do. They were laughing my jokes out of my head because I had never had laughs like that before, because I had just been doing like open mics. So I was meeting a lot of famous people, but they were at open mics. And if you know about the Ha Ha Comedy Club, I think it was really like Monique, Reggie Carroll. That club used to be a karaoke bar at first. They came and started doing stand-up, and then it turned into what it is today, okay? So, what is it today? Shaky Town? Is Shaky Town still alive? I said Shaky Town on shaky ground, baby. I know they waiting to burn this bitch down, okay? Jack, you ain't slick. Celebrities hang out there. Like, a lot of celebrities hang out there. That's basically where they chill, right? So I just remember getting on the stage. I remember the first thing I said was, well, I hope I can make y'all laugh without having to ask y'all to, right? And it wasn't like no shade or nothing. I just said it, right? I remember that made the people laugh. Then I just remember like just talking. And honestly, I was just talking. Like, I was just telling them, like, y'all, I just got to California. I just got here. I was like, man, y'all is so uncultured. This is like a melting pot full of, I don't remember what I was saying, but I remember they was rolling. They thought, I came down here, and my aunt, I invited her to come here, but thank God she did it, because now I can talk about her. I got to support my dream today. Okay, I'm going. Matter of fact, I didn't want you there anyway. So, we're talking about taking the hint. So basically, all I want to say is, without going into too much detail, alright? If you see a can of Raid, do not ignore that, okay? Because that's a big hint right there. I'm just letting you know. You guys laugh. Half of you probably got roaches. Okay. That's not a joke. Everybody laughs. So you didn't laugh at the other jokes. You don't laugh at Jesus. I was just talking, but the people was laughing so hard. I remember that they do something called giving you a light. Let's say if you got 5 minutes, at about 4 minutes, they're going to flash the light, and that means wrap your joke up. First time I did it, I ran the light because I didn't understand. I didn't know where the light was. I just kept going, and I'm going and going. So I told y'all that I was in the bathroom, and I was like, when I get to California, there's going to be somebody at this comedy show that's going to ask me to do something else, right? Shout out to Dante. Dante Chang was there. I remember he had pulled me to the side. He was like, what are you doing on Wednesday? I was like, oh, nothing. And he was like, well, I want you to do this show. That is all I heard, right? Dante goes into explaining the show, what the show is, who gonna be there, all that. I didn't hear none of it because all I could think about was, how much is this gonna cost? I don't have no more money. I damn near just gave him my last $5 to get on stage. And that's all I'm thinking. And his mouth is just moving and he's talking, and all I can think about is, how much is it gonna cost me to perform at this show on Wednesday, right? So Dante stops talking, and I said, how much is it gonna cost me? And he was like, nothing. Just bring 5 people. Now that I'm a seasoned comedian, I know they call it a bringer show. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like you don't gotta pay, but if you bring 5 people, they're obligated to buy 2 drinks. You know what I'm saying? And then they'll buy food and all that. So that's how the bar makeup or the club makes their money, right? It don't cost nothing. You just gotta bring 5 people. So I was like, oh, that's it? So I was like, okay, cool. I can do this. Wednesday comes up, right? And I got all this like anxiety. Partially too, because when I had went to do my first show, I'm watching the other comedians, right? So I don't know how stand up goes. I'm just watching the other comedians. So this one girl, she actually sat in a chair while she was doing her comedy. The next time I went to the comedy club, I tried to sit down too. And I was like trying the shit that I saw them do, and it was not working for me. Honestly, I would say I bombed my second show, and I would say that's probably like the only show I've ever bombed. And now that I'm a seasoned comedian, I didn't bomb a show. I bombed at an open mic. And honestly, there's really no bombing at open mics because, like I said, most of the people that are at the open mics are other comedians, and it is so hard to get other comedians to laugh. And it's not because you're not funny, it's because we be in our head about our shit. So if it, let's say I'm at your show, I be in my head, I be very nervous. It don't matter how many times I've done this, I'm always nervous. I always get that rush before I go on stage. It might not be that you're not funny, it's just that you told a joke that triggered a joke that they want to remember to tell. Because as they're watching you, they're like, oh, let me not forget my joke about that. Oh, let me not forget my joke about that. Oh, what am I going to say about this? So a lot of comedians are not laughing purposely. Baby, you're just on stage talking to yourself when you're in a room full of comedians, okay? Unless they're genuinely some haters, but I promise you, that is not it. I remember I had tried that. It didn't really work. But I had no more money now because that was my second time paying to get on the stage. And like, I'm broke at this point, right? So Wednesday comes up. Mind you, this is Memorial Day weekend. I remember this was Memorial Day weekend. Probably that Saturday and like maybe Monday, I had did the open mics. Wednesday is coming around and it's gonna be my show. And I am feeling so nervous. I'm feeling unprepared. Mind you, I just got to California on Saturday and it's Wednesday and I'm finna do a show. And my nerves started telling me like, you're not ready. You shouldn't go. Maybe you should cancel. So I had like expressed that I was kind of nervous and I don't know if I should go tonight to my auntie. And my auntie was like, yeah, I don't think you should go either because you just got here. You need to settle in, put some time in. You ain't ready. Immediately when she said that, I heard God say, and that is your sign to go. When somebody is telling you not to do something, that's your sign to go. And I don't mean like, I mean when you're trying to follow your dream and somebody's telling you to wait. I don't mean when somebody's logically telling you don't do something and that you really shouldn't be doing. I mean like when somebody's telling you, like if you're like, I want to open this business and somebody's like, nah, I think you should wait a little bit and open the business. Even if the business fails, at least you will know what to do for when you relaunch the business or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I heard God clearly say, nope, that means you should go. And next time, if anybody ever tell you don't do something, just know that means you should go. So I was like, all right, cool, we gone. Get to the show. I walk in, and it is like celebrity jam-packed. Everywhere I look, it's celebrities. And I'm just looking like, what are these people doing here? They called me up to get on the stage. Dante was like, oh, I just want to remind you that you ran the light. Don't run the light at the show. Okay? He was like, do not run the light at the show, whatever you do. So I'm on stage. I'm making folks laugh. Da 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 da. And then I look up and the light's on. And I instantly was like, oh my God, I can't run the light. And I basically just didn't even tell my last joke. Like, I did not finish the joke. Like, I kind of just abruptly got off stage, right? So I really only did 3 minutes because Dante left the fucking light on from the last comedian. So when I saw it was on and this nigga flicked it off, he wasn't flashing the light at me. The light was still on from the last comedian. So I'm thinking that was him trying to tell me to get off the stage. I only did 3 minutes, y'all. When I got off the stage, the first person I seen was Afion Crockett. And he was like, good shit. Like, you was so funny. Why'd you get off the stage? We wanted more. Like, why'd you leave the stage so abruptly? And I had said something like, oh, he said don't run the light. He was like, man, I wish you would have kept going. Like, you was so funny. Was another celebrity there. I don't remember which one it was, but I was leaving Afion to go talk to that one because I was like, I want pictures with everybody in here. So then I walked up to whoever that one was, gave him a hug. Like, everybody was in there. Now, mind you, this is another part that I didn't mention. When I was on stage, while I'm on stage, Kel Mitchell walks in, right? And if y'all don't know who Kel Mitchell is, then too young for me, goddammit, or too old, okay? Who loves orange soda? Kel loves orange soda. Is it true? I do. I'm on stage, Kel Mitchell walks in. So I'm on stage telling my jokes, and I remember looking and I remember thinking in my head, like, what the hell is Kel Mitchell doing here, right? Y'all, remember when I said that I had zoned out while Dante was talking because all I wanted to know was how much did it cost me to get on stage? Dante was telling me that he was booking me to open up for Kel Mitchell. I didn't even know. I did not know. My first show, I opened up for Kel Mitchell, and Afion Crockett was there. He was the first person that greeted me when I got off stage, told me I was funny as hell. It was a celebrity jam-packed show. That's the night I met Mick Fonz, Alfonso, from... He do a bunch of shit, but he was in Fat Albert, Brandon T. Jackson. And we're going to do some story times about Brandon. We're gonna do a story time about Brandon. I had told myself yesterday, I was like, I'm telling my motherfucking story. Period. Afion, and it was like some other people there, but basically, yeah. After that, y'all, I took off instantly because I opened up my first show for Kel Mitchell, and it was a celebrity jam-packed show. So then I started meeting them. So then I started hanging out with them, and then we'll tell the story because we'll tell some more stories. But basically, that is the story of how I became a stand-up comedian. Honestly, I just had a dream. Then the Bible says that God spoke and it happened. So all those things I was speaking of, when I get to California, somebody gonna ask me to do something. But basically, that's the story of how I became a stand-up comedian. It started with a dream, you know what I'm saying? It started with me, a little girl, visioning like Marlon. And the funny part about the whole thing is that I started using that manifestation thing at like 12 or 13 years old because of Marlon Wayans. And y'all, when I got there, I started coming up with the Wayans kids. And we gonna tell, I'm telling my motherfucking truth. And I'm telling my stories, okay? Maybe, I don't know which story I should do next. Story about my celebrity crush, okay? Because I met my celebrity crush in 3 weeks of me moving to California. I met my celebrity crush, yes. And he came to support me at my second show, y'all. So, yeah, we could tell some stories about him. And it's funny because why, when I was pregnant, he gonna hit me up. Because we had, like, messed around for, like, 10 years. I just cut you off, baby. I just cut you off, okay? Because Baby, if you think I'm finna be somebody's secret for my whole life, like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah, why when I got pregnant, he hit me up, talk about some, oh, you having another nigga baby, you having somebody else baby, da da. Mind you, he just had a baby. So, babe, what are you talking about? He only has 2 kids, and he had both of them while we were, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was there before both of these girls. So while you talking about somehow I'm having somebody else baby. Yeah, so we get to tell a story about my celebrity crush, how I met him, or the story about mistaken identity and how basically that got me in with the Wayneses, or the Brandon story. So y'all tell me, what story should I tell next? But yeah, that's it for this video. If you like that video, make sure you do so physically. Also, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends we got the juice on this channel. Okay? Because at some point I was like, I can't do shit in life. I wasn't taught shit, but I can be funny. God damn it. And after I had my baby, this baby that I just had, I swear it was like deja vu. Like, it was like when I was 26 again. I was like, what am I going to do with my life? You know what I'm saying? And it was like, you gotta keep being funny. You gotta keep doing the internet. You just gotta keep doing this, you know? So it really means a lot to me that y'all have subscribed to my channel and that y'all support everybody that drops comments. And yeah, that's the story about how I became a stand-up comedian. See you in my next video.